This week on Christian World News, a Hollywood power couple brings their latest biblical epic to television. Mark Burnett and Roma Downey take us behind the scenes of AD, The Bible Continues. Plus, the hip-hop star who's a one-of-a-kind, or perhaps we should call him an anomaly. We'll hear from rapper/actor/producer, simply known as Lecrae. And the blockbuster movie that's made its mark in the Guinness Book of World Records, how the Jesus film is changing lives. And welcome to this special edition of Christian World News. Christians in the entertainment world are bringing the gospel to the culture. I'm Ephraim Graham. George Thomas and Wendy Griffith are both on assignment. Here in America, the epic television series AD is on a 12-week television run. It's produced by Mark Burnett and Roma Downey. Their series, The Bible, drew more than 100 million viewers to the History Channel. I sat down with the husband and wife team for a behind-the-scenes look at AD, The Bible Continues. The new network television series AD, The Bible Continues, picks up where the wildly successful cable miniseries The Bible ended, at the death and resurrection of Jesus.
Are you, or are you not, the Messiah?
I am. And soon you will see the Son of Man sitting at the right hand of God.
The charge is blasphemy. He deserves to die.
It's very, very relatable, isn't it?
Roma Downey and Mark Burnett are the producers, bringing the pages of the Bible to life for today's viewers.
Clearly, the story of the Bible, and in the case of AD, The Bible Continues, the story of Acts of the Apostles, really grabs people emotionally. But then you've got to make it very well and execute on the promise. And, you know, that's our job. I guess we're probably experts in making television.
That would be an understatement, as Burnett is the engine behind hits like Survivor, The Apprentice, The Voice, Shark Tank, and the Bible miniseries.
When we were filming the Bible series in Morocco, we wished we'd had more than 10 hours. We wish we'd had 100 hours because the stories are so deep and so rich. And we decided while we were there and then that we would take a deeper dive into the book of Acts.
Have you ever stared into a man's face as you thrust a sword?
This 12-hour series takes audiences through the first 10 chapters of the book of Acts, the first decades following the resurrection of Jesus. It's an epic production that Mark Burnett describes as Game of Thrones meets the Bible.
Very tumultuous and bloody time. Those apostles and the growing group of disciples could have been killed at any moment. It was a power struggle between the Romans, the temple authorities, the zealots. In the middle of it was this group of the followers of Jesus who was spreading the word. They could have been killed every day.
This man walks with this Son of God.
I do not! I don't know him! I've never seen him before!
Following Christ wasn't popular at that time, and we see the real-life script moving from the Bible and history books to today's headlines.
Here we have, with AD, so much of the story is about the persecution of the early disciples. And it's easy, I think, for people to say, oh, that happened 2,000 years ago. But it is happening today. And we need to step up and we need to take care of each other.
So, in addition to shining a light on biblical persecution, this Hollywood husband and wife is helping rescue, restore, and eventually return thousands of Middle East Christians who fled their homes to escape persecution at the hands of the ISIS terror group. The couple has started the Cradle Fund to combat the crisis in the cradle of Christianity.
This fund has managed to bring 72,000 Middle Eastern Christians safely through the winter. You know, there were 500,000 displaced. Imagine escaping being killed, crucified in fact, but then to freeze to death in the Syrian winter. Iraqi winter.
Because of the success of our shows, we have a spotlight that lands on us from time to time, and yet we're just the catalyst, and God is the author. And so, but as the light is shining here, we thought it's an opportunity to reflect it back and to make some noise for the persecution of Christians overseas.
That noise will continue.
It will be defiled.
Yes. And Jerusalem will rise up and there will be war.
Exactly.
As this rare and epic television series plays out on the small screen for at least 12 episodes.
There's lots of big, epic event series on television, but only the Bible series, and now AD, the Bible continues. And we're hoping this goes on for many years. We're not thinking this is 1 year. We're already in anticipation of great ratings, scripting season 2.
Mark, Burnett and Roma Downey are not taking a break. They're hard at work right now on bringing another masterpiece to the movie theaters. Even as we speak, they're in production on a new version of this 1959 blockbuster, Ben-Hur, which made history with a record-breaking 11 Academy Awards. And this version is also based on the best-selling novel Ben-Hur, A Tale of Christ, which was published in 1880. The book tells the story of a life-altering encounter between a first-century Jewish prince and Jesus of Nazareth. And it was written by Lew Wallace, a true Renaissance man.
He tried different things. He loved to paint, he loved to write, he loved to do creative things. He loved the military. He became a prosecuting attorney. He was in the legislature for a term.
This new film hits theaters in February 2016 and will be taking you to the set. Up next, musician, producer, and actor. Our talk with Lecrae reveals why he's so much more than just an anomaly.
Hello, I'm Terry Newsom. Did you know there are more than 148 million orphans in the world today? 148 million. But it was 3 little girls that taught me about the plight of orphans. 8 years ago, my husband and I spent nearly a month immersed in the daily activities of a Ukrainian orphanage as we waited to adopt 3 sisters. I saw firsthand the utter loneliness, the pain of rejection, and the overwhelming desire to be loved. That experience changed me forever. And out of it grew a ministry from my heart called Orphans Promise. Today, we're helping orphans and vulnerable children in more than 50 countries worldwide. Thousands of children are now in safe homes. They're being educated, and they're learning life skills. I'm asking you to join with me and become family to these children. Will you call the number on your screen right now? Because every child deserves a chance to be happy.
Inside every child is a hero, a leader, a friend to others, someone who helps out, who does the right thing, who dreams of what they can be, but they still need our help.
What should I do? What should I say? How should I feel?
That's where Superbook comes in. It provides moral and spiritual truths through situations children can relate to, teaching God's Word to the children you love. Join the Superbook DVD Club and receive Superbook's newest episodes as they're available, plus 2 copies to share with others, all for your gift of only $25. Get Superbook today and watch the miracles happen.
And welcome back to our special edition of Christian World News, Christians in Entertainment. Our next story is about a musician who's topped both the Christian and secular music charts. He's been on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon twice and at a birthday party for Billy Graham. I'm talking about the rapper Lecrae. I sat down with him to talk about being an anomaly.
How did I fall in this? No condition that get a mention, but you offer this unconditional.
All I Need Is You is just one hit single from Lecrae's latest record-breaking project.
The concept of the album is embracing the fact that you're different.
You know, in many ways, you're going to be an outcast.
The album is called Anomaly, and it's just that, the first to ever land simultaneously at the top of the Billboard and gospel music charts.
#1 on Billboard, being invited to sit in with the Roots on NBC's Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon. Gladys Knight tweeting she's listening to your music and loves it. Why do you think the world is praising you?
It's an anomaly. But it's very obvious that it's God's handiwork, you know. It's very obvious that, you know, he's showing off and saying, hey, guess what? This independent guy, many of you don't know, who loves me, is right here. How did it happen? Nobody knows, because I did it. You know what I mean? It's just kind of like, ha-ha.
The Houston native started his own record label, Reach Records, more than 10 years ago. This husband and father describes himself as something that doesn't quite fit. A humble hip-hop artist whose music doesn't glorify sex, drugs, or violence. Plus, he's an outspoken Christian.
Do you like being labeled a Christian rap artist?
I like being labeled a Christian. I think Christian is a wonderful noun and not a great adjective. I think the noun Christian is this person is a devout follower, and that's great. I think when you say this is Christian table or this is a Christian shirt, what does that really mean? And so I think sometimes it can actually hinder my personal mission by having that label on my music. Just because I don't know what some people say, oh, he's a Christian rapper, that means it's for Christians. Or he's a Christian rapper, that means it's not good. So, yeah.
With more than a half dozen albums under his belt, Lecrae wants to reach all audiences with his music. Just a year ago, his Gravity project won the Grammy for Best Gospel Album.
Anomaly is your 7th album. How has your music changed since the first?
My music has changed in the same ways that I have. You know, I've just grown as a man. I think there's a confidence now in some of my experiences in life. You know, when I started out, I was just regurgitating things I was learning on the fly. So learning something, learning it, spit it out, learn it, spit it out. I've seen my children born. I've seen children die. And that shaped me. And I'm not saying I'm done, but the music has the residue of that shaping.
That residue includes the pain of being molested, abused, and taking a girlfriend to have an abortion when he was much younger.
I think leaders lead in vulnerability. I think you can trust a vulnerable person. I think the airs and the guards are taken down, and people can find healing. You know, it's said that hurt people, but healed people heal people. And I can talk about those things because I'm healed, and it helps other people find a sense of healing and to be able to go there and pull those things out of their own closets and deal with them.
Let me get you count money to the ceiling. Difference between us like at least a couple million.
And the audience for Lecrae's healing message continues to grow. He made his acting debut in the film Believe Me. Just as Anomaly began its steady climb up the music charts.
The album wasn't for me, it's for everyone. You know, it was for people to be able to embrace being the people that God's made them to be, and being okay with that. Not marveling at the anomalies that we've seen, like, wow, Martin Luther King, what an anomaly. But saying, hey, guess what? It's your role too, you know, is to stand up and stand out.
And since that interview, Lecrae has added another Grammy to his shelf, and he's hard at work on a book. You can see more of my interview with Lecrae. Watch for the full interview at our website. It's at cbnnews.com. Effective tools ever created to share the gospel. Decades later, the Jesus film is still changing lives.
Hello? Is this thing on? Hey, kids, do you love games? And do you love discovering things? Well, do ya?
Then you're gonna love this. It's the new free Superbook Kids Bible app. You can play games, watch videos, find answers to your questions, and a whole lot more. The new Superbook Kids Bible app. Free downloads available on iTunes and Google Play now.
Hello, I'm Terry Newsom. Did you know there are more than 148 million orphans in the world today? 148 million. But it was 3 little girls that taught me about the plight of orphans. 8 years ago, my husband and I spent nearly a month immersed in the daily activities of a Ukrainian orphanage as we waited to adopt 3 sisters. I saw firsthand the utter loneliness, the pain of rejection, and the overwhelming desire to be loved. That experience changed me forever. And out of it grew a ministry from my heart called Orphans Promise. Today, we're helping orphans and vulnerable children in more than 50 countries worldwide. Thousands of children are now in safe homes. They're being educated, and they're learning life skills. I'm asking you to join with me and become family to these children. Will you call the number on your screen right now? Because every child deserves a chance to be happy.
Pentecost 2015. From the corners of the earth, believers gather in Jerusalem. Walk where Jesus walked. Pray in Gethsemane. Rejoice at the empty tomb. Don't miss messages from over 100 world-renowned speakers and a score of popular worship artists. For more information and to register for the Empowered 21 Global Congress, go to Jerusalem2015.com. This May, Jerusalem.
In recent years, Christian movie makers have produced dozens of faith-based films, but when it comes to evangelizing, none has had as great an impact as the Jesus film. It's been translated into more languages than any movie in history. It's also led more than 200 million people to Christ. Last year, on its 35th anniversary, the creators updated the Jesus film, making it bigger and better than ever.
At the very heart of Campus Crusade for Christ headquarters.
This is Mr. Abate from Ethiopia. His car was tampered with so that he would have an accident, and he did lose his life too. Personally, it's been a wake-up call.
Is a moving tour and tribute to the ministry's most popular tool for taking the gospel message around the world, the Jesus film.
Don't be afraid. From now on, you will be catching men.
The 1979 production is based on the Gospel of Luke.
At first it had a theater run in the U.S., and we thought, boy, it's great, people are getting to see the story of Jesus. But then as we saw him use it in language after language around the world and saw the potential, and then began to build strategies around this, it's just been a big part of Campus Crusade's work globally.
Crew Executive Director Eric Schenkel spent 11 years in Central Asia working with the Jesus film.
They didn't think Jesus was for them, but when they saw the Jesus film in their own language, all the Central Asian languages, Kazakh, Kyrgyz, Uzbek, Karakalpak, and saw Jesus speaking their language, they understood Jesus had come for them and loved them. And so we saw movements of people coming to Christ in every one of these people groups.
This map helps to tell the Jesus film story. It actually holds the world's record as the most translated film in more than 1,200 languages, and it's been viewed around the world more than 6 billion times.
The amazing thing is there's still places in the world where when we translate this film, it becomes the only film in the language of the people watching it. 1,200 language translations, a very large percentage for those people. It's the only film they've ever had in their language where they see the people on the screen speaking the words that they speak every day and the words that their mother spoke to them when they were sitting on their mother's knee as a child.
There's certainly no denying the power of the gospel message, but for some on the mission field, Crew's 35-year-old mission tool was losing its luster in the age of high definition and surround sound.
We have other products, and there were other things that we could offer, but the Jesus film is really the core. It's the Gospel of Luke, condensed to 2 hours. It has the most scripture of any product that we have, and it's so it's kind of near and dear to my heart, and so it has been disappointing to hear that in places in Europe or Asia that, well, we're not really using this film anymore. It doesn't really work for us.
So, Kerry Hagan and film engineers have been working for more than 10 years, restoring and remastering the entire film.
A tedious effort. But and the sound effects, layer upon layer, the birds, the wind, the cloth noises, the crowd noises.
With that work, the film goes from this to this. And from this to this.
It's like painting a picture, really, with sound. Layer upon layer of sound that you take for granted when you watch a movie. It's just like, of course the outdoor is going to sound like that, the people are going to sound like that, but we built the sound from nothing. We built all the sound from scratch and then a new musical score, which is unique. You just don't see that, in Hollywood and in restoration projects.
The one who would later betray Jesus.
The 1979 version in 2014, does it still work?
It does now. After our staff has done the work of restoration, it stands up very well with any film on the life of Jesus.
It's a labor of love, completed just in time for the film's 35th anniversary.
35 years, there have been 6 billion viewings of the Jesus film. Now, some of the people that viewed it have passed on, and some have seen it more than once, but 6 billion viewings of the film, and over 200 million people have indicated that they wanted to become followers of Jesus after seeing the film. So the reach has just been so much more than we could have asked or thought, and it's really been a privilege to see how God has used this tool.
And you can see more great stories about the work of the church around the world. Simply go to our Christian World News website. You can find it at cbnnews.com. We'll be right back after this.
Give me that. Bye. Sure, life is busy, but I found a way to make a huge difference in people's lives. I guess you could say I'm changing the world right here from home. I bring medical supplies and doctors to people in need, and dig wells so that villagers can have clean and safe water to drink. I make it possible to preach the gospel in over 100 countries, including right here in America. And when disaster strikes, I'm there, providing food, thank you, and emergency supplies to give people hope again. Every day, CBN and I are making the world a better place. Here you go. My life is hectic, so I joined CBN through Pledge Express. My bank does all the work, and I know that my gift is being used where it's needed most. So become a CBN partner and join Pledge Express, because you can do a world of good right from where you are. Hi, good morning. Are you ready to get started?
Pat Robertson recently recorded a very special program to answer the question, does God still heal today?
What we're trying to do here, Scott, is to tell people how they can access the power of the living God through Jesus Christ.
Discover the answers and let your faith be encouraged.
And then Jesus spelled out of how we can have healing and how we can have miracles.
In Pat Robertson's latest DVD, Be Healed, you'll learn the biblical basis for healing today, how to exchange anxiety and worry for faith and confidence, the way to pray for your healing and healing for those you love. Plus, meet real people who've experienced the miraculous healing power of God.
The first thing I did was reached out for a lifesaver, and that was God. You know, you can put your trust in medicine, but the ultimate healing is going to have to be God.
Find out the biblical principles that lead to healing in Pat Robertson's latest teaching, Be Healed. Available now.
And finally today, if you're younger than 20 or if you have a parent or child rather under 20, you're probably familiar with Larry the Cucumber and Bob the Tomato. They're both part of the VeggieTales success story. On a visit for their 20th anniversary last year, I found they're still growing strong.
If you like to talk to tomatoes.
That silly theme song serves as VeggieTales' well-known signature.
The beginnings were very humble.
Mike Naraki is one of the original creators at Big Idea Productions, which launched the computer animated series in 1993. just in time for Christmas.
Computer animation at that time was so limited that you really couldn't do limbs or arms or hair or clothes, or any of those things. And so if we were going to tell a half-hour story, we needed very simple characters.
That's why Naraki and Bible college buddy Phil Vischer chose to animate vegetables. Neither one understands, though, how they created more than 40 episodes, sold more than 70 million DVDs, and have now joined forces with animation giant DreamWorks.
I just remember finishing that first show and thinking, wow, we did it. We did one show of animation, and then we were able to do a second, and then a third, and then it really caught on with our in Christian bookstores and with fans.
Fan favorites are the series hosts, the tomato and the cucumber.
I'm Bob the Tomato.
And I'm Larry.
The guy who ate my pie.
I do the voice for Larry, for Jean-Claude P., for Jerry Gord, Oscar the Polish Caterer, and assorted other, scallions and turnips.
We'll know you best as Larry.
Larry the Cucumber, that's right.
Larry the Cucumber and Bob the Tomato have been inspiring kids for more than 20 years, and quite naturally, some things have changed in that time, but the message has stayed the same.
I messed up.
Well, I mess up all the time, too. All the time, and God forgives me.
We felt there was a real need for stories that were told from the viewpoint of the assumption that there's a God who made us, who loves us, and has a plan for our lives.
Celebrities like Wayne Brady are now adding their voices to the vegetable plate to tell new stories. Country music singer Kelly Pickler plays Mirabelle, the sweet potato, in Beauty and the Beat.
Baby, God sees something in you they can't see.
And actor Terry Crews
Tear the park down, I'ma tear the park down.
is Bruce the Onion in Celery Night Fever.
I've been a fan for the longest time. I mean, my oldest, she's 27 now. But I remember the songs and the lessons, they just come back at you. It really stays in your brain and it never leaves. But that goes for parents too, because you have to play it over and over again. But the good thing is we enjoyed it too.
The added star power is expanding VeggieTales' audience.
It's been an amazing journey over these past 20 years. The why we do what we do is still the same for me, and I want to help bring biblical values to kids and families everywhere.
The Big Ideas team recently renewed that commitment to family
God made you special, and He loves you very much.
and opened its doors exclusively to CBN News and moms from across the country who write some of the leading parenting blogs. The VeggieTales Day included a look at the artistry
So I do a circle like that for the head.
and the audio work
Give a big hand to the Veggie Tones.
behind the animated series. And even I got a chance to join the cast. Come on, Maribel, you can't love someone who doesn't love you back, especially that old grump.
Katrina, we can all be nasty sometimes, but everyone deserves to be loved.
These vegetables with a message are still fresh for another generation.
And thanks so much for joining us for this special edition of Christian World News. George and Wendy are back next week. Until then, goodbye and God bless you.